I've been seeing quantum jumping, also known as timeline jumping, parallel realities, whatever it is that you want to call it. Quantum jumping is defined as when you are able to transition into a new reality which you could not access before. This is also known as a quantum shift, meaning that you shift yourself to a new reality by doing a quantum jump through a leap in your mind. This was found on grace-being.com. So quantum jumping. People have been doing it intentionally and unintentionally. And I've been seeing more and more of these videos pop up all over TikTok of people that have jumped timelines, have jumped into a parallel reality, either by accident or on purpose, and things are just bonkers in this other reality. And they live to tell the tale. Whether it is that they were able to get back into their original reality, aka the one that we're all in, that we're able to view these videos, or they are still in the new reality, they are stuck here, and now they're ready to tell their tale. So let's take a look at some of these quantum jumping videos and just react to them. I'll give you my thoughts, and at the very end, I will talk to you guys about my little experience with quantum jumping. But first, hello, hello. My name is Ivy, also known as the Witchypreneur, here on my YouTube channel. I make videos all about spirituality, the paranormal, and things like that. So if you are into one or all three of those things, please hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first story that we're going to talk about is from a creator named Sacred Light Wellness, where she talks about a story in which she astral projects right into AAT, also known as alternative timeline, and she decides to look for her husband, which is something that she typically likes to do every time she goes to an alternate dimension. So take a look at what she has to say.
If you don't like crazy stories or diving down into a rabbit hole, keep scrolling. This video is not for you. But if you are, I'm going to tell you the crazy experience I had this morning when I tried to astral project. Now, lately, whenever I try to astral project, I end up just quantum leaping into an alternative timeline. I'm going to call them ATs for short here. I jump into an AT and I explore. Usually when I go into an AT, I'm always curious as to what this timeline's version of husband is doing in those timelines. So that's exactly what I did. I went searching for that guy and I found him and I walked up to him and I introduced myself. I said hello, and he, exchanged quick pleasantries, and he asked me, like, who are you? And I told him, I was like, you're never going to believe me if I told you. And he was like, he looked at me intrigued and he said, try me. Who are you? And I told him, I am from the year 2023. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. You are not supposed to tell anybody the time that you are from. None of that. The gatekeepers don't like it. And that's exactly what happened. There were 2 gatekeepers nearby. They heard it. They gave me this shocked, crazy look of like, oh shit. And of course, they said something in their little ear speakers, walkie-talkie things. And then they started coming towards me and tried to grab me so that they can clean up the timeline. And this is the first time that I've done this. Normally I run and get out of it. But this time I looked at them and I said, no. I am here for a reason and a purpose. Leave me alone. Go away. And they freaking did. What? I didn't know you could just command them to do that shit. I did it one other time before, but I just thought that was like a fluke thing with that one gatekeeper. But anyways, so then I continued my conversation with him and we sat down and I told him, I was like, in my timeline, you're my husband. I'm your wife. And then all of a sudden, my youngest son was sleeping in bed with me. So I felt him moving and then I felt that energy starting to pull and I started to like dematerialize in that time zone. And I told him, I can't stay. It's not, the energy is not stable, but I will be back. I will find you again. I quickly shot back into my body and then my son was still asleep. So I was like, okay, go back. So then I immediately, and a lot quicker than the first time, went back into the quantum jumping, went right back to that place and then found him again. It took me a minute. I had to walk around, but I found some people walking towards like this restaurant. So I walked towards that area and I found him. I saw his head and I shouted his name and he was like, actually, my name is Doug. And I was like, your name is totally different than what it is in my timeline. But it was really fascinating. He gave me a hug when I saw him again, and I meant to ask him how much time had lapsed since the last time I had been there, but time ran out, just like now.
Okay, so as you can see in this video, she astral projected, which is something that it seems like she does typically. Like, it's something that's not out of the ordinary for her. She's able to astral project easily. But every time she goes into a different timeline or alternative timeline or parallel reality, whatever it may be that you want to call it, she always wants to see what her fiance or her husband, whatever, is doing in that alternate universe. And so she decides to go see her husband, and she finds him, and then she decides to tell him who she is and what timeline she's from. And then there are these gatekeepers that are basically telling her, are basically there to be like, oh no, you can't talk about this, and are about to pull her and take her somewhere else, and she just tells them no, and then they just disappear. This reminds me of a Loki and the timeline people that pull you when you're not in the right timeline and stuff. But it's crazy that you have the power. It almost seems like we have the power to tell them no, to tell them no, this is a part of our destiny. No, we have the power to stop them. Which is crazy to think that if this does exist and there are these gatekeepers, that we have the power to override their rule, almost as if we have a little bit more say-so than they do. I don't know, I just think that was really awesome. So the next story that we're going to talk about is by a hypnotist whose name is Break the Cycle with Jackie, and her @handle is Break the Cycle with Jackie. Let's take a look at a strange session that her client has told her.
I'm a hypnotist, and you are not going to believe this story that my client told me. She told me that she'd get home from work and she'd be in a great mood all day, and then she'd come home, she'd step through the door, and she'd be immediately in a bad mood. She said one of her roommates was just really dirty and he never cleaned the house, so the house was always in disarray. I helped her let go of the anger and the sadness and the frustration that she was experiencing around this issue. And we did a hypnosis process where I had her imagine that she walked through the door and the whole house was clean and it was just perfect, and she got to be in a good mood. We do the session. She messaged me a few days later and she goes, Jackie, you're literally not going to believe what happened. She goes, I come home from work and I open the door and my roommate is standing in the kitchen and he has mopped the floor and cleaned out the sink. She goes, I didn't even know that this man knew where the mop was. And she goes, I'm just standing there in the doorway going, what are you doing? And he tells her, he goes, well, I don't know. I just noticed that the kitchen floor needed cleaning and the sink was really dirty, so I cleaned it. She's like, I can't believe that works. And I said, yeah, that's how it works. When I try to share this with my clients, I'm like, when you change your perspective at the unconscious level, when you let go of the baggage, that's when your life will change, because you're no longer attracting the thing that you don't want. She didn't have to control him. She had to control her perception of him. When you let go of the unconscious baggage, your entire world can shift. If you need some of that in your life, I'm Jackie Corley with Break the Cycle Hypnosis, and the first 10-minute call is free. There's a link in my bio.
Okay, so in this story, we have Jackie, who's a hypnotist, and she told her client, and she was talking to her client, and her client is always in a bad mood as soon as she steps into her home because it's always dirty. The roommate never cleans up, and that automatically will just put her in a bad mood. So the hypnotherapist starts to tell her to always picture that the house is clean so that it doesn't impact her emotional state. And so she started doing that. And then all of a sudden, she came home one day and this man had mopped the floor and cleaned the whole house. And he looked at her and he's like, what? I just felt like it needed cleaning. She then goes on to bringing it into reality. And yes, that's pretty much like the law of attraction. I feel like every time you want to manifest something and you're picturing it in your mind, guess what? That's going to happen. And I know people are going to be like, oh, free will, this has to do with another person. Okay, but if we're jumping into an alternate timeline by doing this, maybe there is a dimension out there where this person is actually clean. And that just happens to be the parallel reality that she happened to fall into, right? And then we're not really imposing on free will. We're just jumping timelines. The next one is going to be by a girl named Omi Sola, who goes by the @handle at chocolate.wasted. So let's take a look at her story time of jumping timelines.
I just feel like talking today. So, story time. I'm gonna tell y'all about the time I jumped dimensions, but it's like, I know there's other story times like this one here, but not like this one. So basically, I was doing this meditation specifically to jump dimensions. I can link it if y'all care. But yeah, I was doing this meditation, and during the meditation, my body started vibrating, like, and then I got really lightweight, and everything around me turned white. And I had my eyes closed, but it was like the room was filling with white light, and I refused to open my eyes because, I was vibrating, and I was kind of scared. Like, it honestly was not the most pleasant experience, but I don't really get experiences with meditation often, so I didn't want to stop because I knew I was about to achieve something. And the guy ended the meditation, and he said to open your eyes and realize now that you are in a different dimension and to act accordingly. So I'm like, bet that. First thing I do, I go to the mirror to see if I have a fat ass. And I didn't. So automatically I'm thinking, this is fake. So I go to sleep as normal. I go to class the next day. And when I walk into the class, these girls I had never really talked to before were like, come here. So I'm like, okay. So I sit with them. They're like, hey girl, just like talking to me like they talk to me every day. I had never talked to these girls before. And I'm thinking like, why are they being so nice to me? So then after the class, I'm walking away and doing my own thing like I usually do. And they call me again like, why are you walking away from us? Like, you usually sit with us in the caf. What? So that's when it clicked. When they said you usually come and sit with us, I was like, no way. Okay, so boom. I have new friends now. Still got a flat ass. But then I get a call from my mom. And at this time, we didn't have the best relationship. Like, before I left for college, our relationship was not the best. It was rocky. And she called and talked to me like she does every day now for hours. Like, we were just best friends. And to this day, me and my mom are best friends again. So I'm like, what? So I'm sitting there like, wow, that really worked. I'm really sitting here in another dimension. And there's been like those occurrences. I've had so many weird occurrences ever since, but those were the first two. And the third one, y'all not gonna believe me, but the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they switched colors. Where I'm from, Democrats are red, Republicans are blue. Yeah.
Okay, so in this story, she's basically talking about how she was doing a meditation and then she starts vibrating with, if you guys have ever been in a deep meditative state, you guys may have felt that like vibration that she's talking about. I know when I start to get very like deep into my meditation, I do start like vibrating and it just feels like wah wah wah, if you know what I mean. So she was doing this to shift into a parallel reality, which she linked the video to that whole meditation. I'll link it down below if I can find it. And I want to try it myself. I might do a video on that too, where she like jumped into a different timeline. And so at first, the first thing that she does was go to the mirror, because the first thing, obviously, what she wants first is like her butt to be bigger. And she looked in the mirror and she's like, my butt's still flat. So I'm gonna assume this is bullcrap. This didn't work. But then the next day when she decides to go to school, these women that she has never sat with, right? She's seen them before, but she's never sat with them. She's never talked to these women. They call her over and they're like, hey. And so they start talking to her, and then she's getting ready to leave, and she's like, and the girls are like, where are you going? Like, you usually sit with us. And that's when she's like, oh, this worked. And after that, her mom calls her, and she has like a grand old time with her mom, and her and her mom seemed like they hadn't been close for a while, but it seems like her and her mom are close again. Until this day, they're best friends. So she has shifted timelines. And the fact that she also mentions that in her timeline, Republicans are like the blue color and then Democrats are red, it's very obvious to her that she's shifted timelines. And that's awesome. Like, good for her. And that is amazing to be able to shift that much that it's that noticeable. Usually it's very like subtle changes. I've had something which I will mention that is kind of like weird to me, but the fact that that happened is really amazing. So be careful when you jump timelines, because you might jump a little too much, and you don't want to go a little too cuckoo from the fact that you're like, whoa, in my universe this doesn't happen. The next story is going to be from, so this is a girl that posted it, but she's not the original creator. She was also reacting to this one. So this woman's name is Auntie Matrix, and her little @ thing is Tessica Vision, but the original video is by a creator named Adonis Bjornson, and his TikTok handle is Adonis B Jornson. So let's take a look at this video.
So many people tagged me in this, and it made me feel really weird. This is so crazy. You gotta watch. Hold on.
What I'm about to share with you is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. If you know about manifestation, quantum jumping, spirituality, anything within that realm, you're going to want to hear this. I don't think you realize how real this shit is, how much this can fuck your mind up. It can fuck your life up. My wife and I had some fights today because of this. Everything is completely fine now. But enough of the bullshit. So here it is. The Earth has been changing. The Schumann resonance, you probably have heard of this. It's changing frequency. The second Earth, you've heard the stuff from Dolores. I've talked about this. Yada, yada, yada. We're on a different timeline. There's a higher vibration, okay? I received a text today, not on this phone that I'm recording on my personal phone. I received a text. The text used a name that my mother called me when I was younger, and that my mother actually wanted to name me. The text said, "Hey, it's me. I don't want to say the person's name. I wanted to see when you want to hook up." I showed my wife this. I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is really weird." She thought it was really weird, especially that name. And I said, "I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number." And she said, "You don't remember me? That we met at the gym." It started getting a lot weirder from here. She knew the gym I went to. She said that we met at the gym, that I introduced myself as this name, which is not my name. It's the name my mother had for me, that she wanted to call me when I was younger. It was an inside thing between me and my mom when I was very, very young. I don't give my personal phone number to anybody. I don't care what it is, business related, anything like that. That is not me. I know there's going to be a lot of you in the comments that make your own assumptions. Go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want to do. So basically I called this person out saying, "How did you get my number? What is all this about? I've never met you." They told me the day that they met me at the gym. My wife and I were not there. We were in San Diego. I truly started thinking it was some weird scam at this point. I'm going to throw this one out there. I basically said, "How do I know you're not from a different timeline?" When I said that, everything changed. The person started saying, "I don't know. Actually, I kind of feel weird. I don't remember how I even got here." I've been tripped out the entire day on this. I have seen firsthand manifestations happen in my life. I've seen some profound mysteries of the universe, but I have never seen a timeline shift like this. Because the Earth is changing, if you are of high vibration right now, be careful, because your future timelines are going to start linking in with this. This has fucked my mind up the entire day. I've never met this person because they didn't meet me. They met an alternate version of me.
So in this story, this woman called him, and then he is like, "Oh, that's not even my name. Like, how do you know me?" She's like, "No, I go to your gym." And the name that she gives him was a name that him and his mom would talk about, that she was supposed to name him. And so maybe that's his name in an alternative timeline, right? And he even asked her, he's like, "How do I know you're not from a different timeline?" And that's when the girl just kind of like stops and thinks, she's like, "I don't even know how I got here." So I'm thinking, so he's freaking out about everything that's going on. He's like, okay, what the heck just happened? She met a different reality version of me. But in my head, I'm like, this poor woman is probably stuck in this alternative timeline for some reason. Or maybe the phone led to some sort of interdimensional communication. I have no idea what happened, but I'm like just thinking about this woman and this poor woman who all she wanted to do was call up a man that she saw at the gym that gave her his number, and she ended up getting in contact with a different version of this man. I feel sorry for this woman. I hope she finds a way back to her dimension, to her timeline. Goodness gracious. This next one is a 2-part video, and I'm going to show you both parts. This one is bonkers, okay? Scary, chilling to the core, and it's something that I have heard of before. And this is by a woman named Steph Gibbons, and her handle is Steph Gibbons, which I will also link. So take a look at her story.
Okay, this is an SOS or a warning to all my astral projectors, quantum jumpers, reality shifters. Something is not right. I don't even feel safe sharing it on here. But I feel like I need to let everybody know what I encountered, because so sometimes when we travel, or when I travel, like I come across like an astral realm watcher or a cop, call them whatever you want, but they never seem dangerous or malicious. They just seem like they want what's best for like the time-space continuum. Last night when I went to sleep, guys, like, I'm seriously so scared to sleep in my room tonight. I feel like I just don't feel, I need to cleanse my space, obviously, but I'm just gonna get right into it. So I astral projected, quantum jumped into a parallel universe, okay? I reality shifted, and it always takes me a while to realize where I'm at, what's going on, and once I did, I realized I've been there before. It's a reality I, like, occasionally go to quite often. All of a sudden, this tall motherfucker, okay, this reality is just like this one, okay? And all of a sudden, this tall motherfucker, a human that's probably the size and height of a family home, like a human dinosaur, appeared out of nowhere, laughing. He had everybody's attention. Everybody was looking up at him. He basically announced while he was laughing, if you don't belong here, you better go. Like, creepy as fuck. And he made an announcement that, like, I can't, like, clearly remember, but it was basically saying, jumpers are no longer allowed to jump anymore. My instant thought was just to like blend in. That's what I always do, just try to blend in. They won't notice me. And then he started to threaten with like a water squirt gun. And he pointed it up in the air and just to show us what it would shoot out. And it was shooting out pixels. It was like making the air crystallize and it looked like pixels. It didn't take long before he shot right freaking at me. Right at me. He grazed my hand and my hand pixelized. And I no longer had like half my hand. So I'm like, great, fuck, he knows exactly. He's talking to me. And all of a sudden, guys, he shot me in the chest. My full body crystallized, okay? And I physically felt this. My full body crystallized and turned into like a bunch of diamonds, okay? I felt like frozen in time or like a statue, but I was still there and I could still hear him. And he made an announcement. He's like, you see, this one was a girl, because it outlined my body shape, like in diamonds. And it wasn't long until that body of mine exploded. I remember seeing blackness for 5 seconds, then all of a sudden my eye opened up and I was in a whole new reality. I'm gonna have to make a part 2, but try not to be scared. Okay, this is part 2 to my SOS to all astral projectors and reality jumpers. I will link the first video below. But anyways, I don't even feel safe. So basically, I was completely obliterated by this creepy new astral guard who shot me with a gun that turned me into pixels, and then I just saw straight darkness. Then I just woke up in a whole new reality. And when dangerous shit happens to me, I purposely do not come back to this one. I don't know, call me selfish, whatever. I'm always afraid things are gonna follow me. So I opened my eyes there and I was super confused because I just remembered being obliterated, and I remembered like the 0.5 seconds of darkness, which was like new for me. Not even a minute later, he reappears, laughing again. This tall motherfucking human, which by the way looks like a former president. Anyways, I was inside a house this time, and he was outside, and he made an announcement, was like, are you gonna really make me get rid of everything this time? Didn't even give me a second to breathe, and snapped his fingers, and I'm telling you, the reality started to turn black, like, with a clock formation effect. Like, if you were to edit a video, it was turning black clockwise. Like, he got rid of that reality. Like, that's my take on it, and it's all my fault. And the way that felt, like, I sacrificed myself and jumped in black holes in order to save realities before, because I felt like in my gut that's what I needed to do, and that kind of felt like that. But like I said in the other video, when I got shot and turned to pixels, that was some different shit. In that moment, as I was seeing like it transition to blackness, I could have jumped back to this body, but I purposely stayed in that body to see what would happen, and it was pure blackness again. Pure blackness in 2 realities in one night. And all of a sudden, I opened my eyes in a whole nother reality. At this point, I'm done. I don't want to ruin another reality, so I came back to my body here and I woke up. And if I keep laying in my bed, I will fall asleep and I will start to feel I will start to feel myself leaving my body. So I got out of bed and stood up for a second, went back to bed, put on a movie, trying to stay awake because I'm deathly afraid to jump again. And I think the gaps in between my jumping were the problem. I think the first reality I was at, he followed me straight to the next one because that's what I did. I went from one reality to another. So when I went back to sleep, I, of course, ended up jumping again. Didn't see him for the rest of the night. But I need to make a part 3, and this is the most important message of all 3 of these. This is a warning to all the astral projectors and reality jumpers out there. Something is not right. Okay, last night I was being followed throughout the multiverse by some creature. This is part 3. I'll link the rest of the videos below. Essentially, this creature's mission was to eliminate all jumpers. So he would eliminate me, then follow me to the next reality. Reality after reality. And I would see straight darkness after each one. So I came back here, stayed in my body, made myself stay awake because I was scared to fall asleep to jump again. Because every time I sleep now, I leave my body unless I'm drunk, which could be freaking dangerous. But of course, I passed out and left my body, but thankfully I didn't bump into him again. But like, what the fuck was that? Like, did I just lose fragments of myself? We will never know. But what I did experience during this next set of sleep, God, ugh. So right when I went to sleep, right when I astral projected, I came across 2 beings and they were kind of like watching over me. They did not look human at all. One was blue, one was green, whatever. I don't remember. Moral of the story, I just all of a sudden had random memories of them, of when I would leave my body and they would get mad at me. They were kind of like keeping me in my body, making sure I was safe. They were kind of like parent figures. Both of them were beings in the astral realm. I remember just flying around with one of them and then all of a sudden, I felt like we were being attacked and he took me somewhere where I would be safe. Okay, now listen up. This part is really fucking important. I asked him, what is going on? Because I just got attacked and got eliminated by some other dude with a gun. And he followed me to multiple realities. This being says to me, are you listening? Are you listening? He says there's multiple creatures out there looking for us. Us as in jumpers. There are new creatures out there hunting jumpers. Alright, something I already knew. I've experienced one, right? All of a sudden, we thought it was safe and he was going to take me back to my body or something, I don't know. But right when we left the safe place, a huge fucking cube just like plopped out of nowhere and fell behind that being's body. It just started shooting out a vertical laser light like in 360 mode. And it got my being friend. And he just straight up disintegrated. In this moment, I'm trying to hide behind things because I don't know what to do. Like, kept like grazing over parts of my body and I just felt like I kept losing fragments of my soul. I came straight back to my body, no fucking around. I didn't wait for darkness this time. I was officially freaked the fuck out. And the freakiest part about it all is while I was laying here in my bed, I still felt the pixelation. So unlike the last creature, this one took 0 time to find me. Almost like it was constant. Almost like it latched onto me and followed me here. That feeling didn't stop until I went upstairs. So what is going on? Nothing good. Was this intentional? Was this a program that's been downloaded on purpose to stop people from ascending and getting answers from other realities? Or are we in a video game?
As you can see, this one was a 3-part series. I said 2-part. This is actually a 3-part series. And this one was pretty intense, okay? And I have quite a few things to say about this one specifically. So for one, it seems like she quantum jumps when she's sleeping, right? And she can come back to her physical body. So my question is like, if that's the case, and there are people that are hunting down jumpers, what does that involve? What does that encase? Because there are people that jump alternative timelines unintentionally. Are they gonna hunt them? Or is it just people that, like her, they can jump into a different timeline, know that they've jumped into a different timeline that is not theirs, and then be able to come back? That's what I'm wondering. Like, it looks like she can like almost like astral project into a different timeline, but she can come back. It doesn't seem like obviously her physical form is not there, okay, but her astral self or her spirit is in another alternative timeline or a different. She quantum jumped, but she can come back. It's just a piece of her. It's just her spiritual form, not her physical form that actually fully went into this other timeline. So are those the people that they are hunting down, like the people that can do this? Or is it just like people that like you and me that like can quantum jump, not know that they're quantum jumping, and then that's happening? I don't know. In order for me to tell my story and my quantum jumping story, there is one last video that I want to show you guys about this man who is explaining what it's like to quantum jump and how it feels like after you quantum jump. His name is Chris Josh, and his handle is the Chris Josh on TikTok. Here's his video.
You have been jumping timelines in a major way for the last 9 days. You've been quantum jumping. This is why you feel tired. This is why you require to sleep extra. This is why your diet changed a little bit. It's because these changes are making you not only tired, but taking energy out of you as well. And so, don't be alarmed. This is just temporary. This is really the first time you go through something this major. So that's why it's really hitting you. You may have seen less hours at work, or if you own a business, maybe your business slowed down. That's because you're being forced to take it easy. Even though you may be sleeping more than usual, you're still able to get everything that needs to be done without rushing, without, stressing over it. Everything is getting done even though you have less waking hours. And this is part of your new energy that you're in. You're able to get more done in less time. You're a lot more efficient without you even realizing that you're a lot more efficient. But the way you're going about things is more methodical, in a more intelligent way, and that's why you're able to do more with less time. But your hours will go back to normal. Your business is going to thrive again. You just need to be patient and trust in the process. Right now, you're being forced to take a break because the Creator knows you're not going to take the break yourself. The Creator knows the more that's on your plate, the more you're going to work and the harder you're going to work, and you're going to make sure everything gets done, and you do. But the thing is, now's not the time for that. Now's the time for you to recharge and recuperate. So you might be feeling sleepy if you take a caffeinated beverage instead of being more awake. These are the things that you have to, tolerate for the time being. It's not going to be like this indefinitely. And even though your diet may have changed, remind yourself not to go overboard, okay? You can allow yourself a day a week to kind of get off your usual eating pattern, but then jump right back the next day. Don't let yourself loose, because your mental health depends on your physical health. So you don't want this whole thing backfiring on you, and you want this to actually benefit you the way it's meant to be, benefiting you. So if you need rest, get the rest. If you need to sleep an extra hour or 2 or even 3, don't worry about it. Trust that everything is balancing out with your work. So now you're getting less work, but you're still able to do everything that needs to be done. And that's the most important thing. Also, in the last 9 days, you may have been prone to get out of character. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's because of this transition period. Okay? Just remind yourself to not give people an emotional reaction, whether it's in person or online. Simply ignore them and keep it pushing. Don't give them that emotional reaction, because all you're doing is wasting your energy, and worst case scenario, you might be in a situation where the cops need to be involved, and that's never going to be a good thing for you. Anyways, guys, until next time, take care and have a good one.
So let me explain my little experience. So this actually happened 3 days ago. So last week, I started listening to a lot of videos about people that were quantum jumping either unintentionally or intentionally, and the strange experiences that they were having. So about 3 or 4 nights ago, I started thinking, I kind of want to quantum jump. So I started to listen to this meditation, and then I kind of turned it off, and I was a little afraid to even make the attempt to jump, because the last thought that I had that night was like, I don't want to quantum jump and leave my kids in this timeline where I just remember just thinking, I want to experience a timeline jump, but I don't want to leave my kids here in this timeline. Like, I want to take my kids with me. That was my last thought that night. Okay, I just wanted to experience it for myself and see what happens. Now, the day after I did that, I was taking the car to get an oil change, right? I was in the car with my kids, and we were listening to music. And then all of a sudden, it started playing this song that I listen to all the time. Like, I love this song. My kids know that I love this song. My kids know this song. And it is like, I'll just tell you the song. It's Mama by My Chemical Romance. So if you guys know that song, you guys know what song I'm talking about. Now, when I was listening to this song, something so freaking weird happened. Gerard Way, which is a lead singer of My Chemical Romance, his voice sounded deeper. It did not sound the same. And I literally was like, this is literally the day after I was like, oh, I want to quantum jump. And I was like quiet. And then I looked at my daughter, my oldest daughter, and then I had my other daughter in the back seat. And I was like, do you notice this? And then she looked at me, she's like, he sounds weird. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, doesn't he sound deeper? Like, his voice sounds deeper. This does not sound like the same song. And my daughter's like, yeah, he sounds a lot deeper. And then I asked my daughter in the back seat, my youngest daughter, I was like, does he sound the same to you? And then she's like, no, he sounds different. He sounds different. And so my oldest daughter, she's like, oh, Mom, you're listening to the deluxe version of the song. And I was like, okay, maybe it's like live and that's why it sounds different. So I decide to put on the regular version of the song. Same thing. He sounds the same. He sounds deep. He sounds deeper than he usually does. And I'm like, what the heck? So I was like, okay. I went on YouTube and I found a video of the song, right? The original song that was uploaded years ago. I like 7 to 12 years. I don't know how many years ago, a lot of years ago. And I was like, okay, if he sounds different here, I don't know what to tell you kids. Like, I feel like we're in a different reality. Like, I told them straight up, I was like, I feel like we're in a different reality. I took you guys with me. I'm sorry. And sure enough, he sounded deeper. And we're just like looking at each other like, what is going on? Is something wrong with my speakers? I unplug it. I'm like, okay, why does he sound like this? Why does he sound like this? We get home and I start playing the song because I was trying to show my fiance, I'm like, hey, something's up here. Like, he does not sound the same. My kids are like, yeah, something's wrong. And it's back to normal. The song sounds normal again. And then he's like, it sounds the same as it always does. And I was like, what the But I still, so that happened, right? And I still think that even though the song sort of fixed itself, that part of my quantum jump changed, but everything else still shifted. And I feel like I did quantum jump and my kids also came with me because we all heard that. It wasn't until I got to my fiance, whose name is Josh, by the way. He was like, no. After that, I don't know. But I noticed after I did that, I've been eating a lot better. I've been working out more. I've been walking around. My mental health, you guys don't understand. Like this past year, my mental health has been a dumpster fire. My mental health has been terrible, horrendous. I have fallen into an existential crisis. It's been really, really bad. And I've been super, super sensitive emotionally, right? Mentally, it's been really, really bad. And my physical health has also not been the greatest. So the fact that I just woke up the next day and not only am I fine, I'm happy. I am so freaking happy, you guys. Like, I am genuinely so happy with my life right now. I love my life. I have not loved life like this in a long time, okay? And I'm just, not only that, but I am getting things done like never before. Like, I am getting shiznit done in less amount of times than I ever have in my life. Like, I will literally jam pack my schedule and I'm like, I'm gonna shoot this, and this video. I'm gonna edit this video all at the same time. Things that would have been impossible for me just last week. And I'm able to get everything done in like 5 or 6 hours. Which, if you guys see my schedule, you would be like, what do you mean you got all that down in 5 or 6 hours? Yeah. Something changed. So the fact that this guy mentioned it and he's like, you're getting so much more done in a less amount of time. Yes, that's so accurate because that's been happening. Not only that, in the beginning, he starts off the video with, you are sleeping a lot more than you usually do. That's not the case for me. I'm not sleeping a lot, but you know who is? My oldest daughter. All of a sudden, yesterday, she's so darn tired. She wants to go to bed super early. She ends up falling asleep like at 6 o'clock. Does not wake up for anything. Literally, she was in the house. We were outside. Couldn't get back in. Are just like pounding on the window and everything. We think something is wrong. We're literally ready to call 911. She was just knocked out. She's exhausted. And for what? For what? Like, she's not sleep deprived. She's getting all the sleep that she needs. She's not eating unhealthy. She's not, I don't know. I feel like I jumped timelines and I took my kids with me. But I like this timeline. It's great here. I just hope that my daughter likes it too. Because right now she stayed home from school because she desperately like needed to sleep, even though she slept all day yesterday. But that's my story, you guys. That's my story. That's quantum jumping. Let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. I loved making this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed watching it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post. I make videos all about spirituality, paranormal stuff, and a lot of like tarot videos as well because I am a professional tarot card reader. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye!